So if you guys can hear me, let me know. Um, just so I know if I have my volume up the way it should be. So wait a few minutes, see if anybody shows up. I am off tomorrow, so I figured that why not go live and talk to a couple people. I'm thinking about talking about some books and stuff because I have not done a um, review in a while, a book wrap up. And this might be uh, 18 through something. We'll see. We'll see. Check out all my settings while I wait. There's a beam. There's pop. Crush. Crush is pretty interesting. Maybe I'll just keep bubbles up. How about that? How about some bubbles? Well, anyways, while I'm waiting for people to show up, I can start talking about some things that I've been reading. So I read Perfect and Unbelievable, which are like 4 and is it 4? Um, hmm, no, 3 and 4 out of the Pretty Little Liars series. So I never really got into the show that much, but I started reading the books, and I like the books. Call it a guilty pleasure, if you will, but I enjoyed them. Or like I read the first arc now, and let's try Dance Party. Um, yeah, I mean they're kind of the same-ish, you know, but they're fun. I like them, and I will continue with the series. Um, so, if you don't know anything about the series, group of girls, their leader basically goes missing, and then her body is found, and they're being stalked by this person that knows all their secrets and everything. And the books just kind of continue on from each other and their lives and everything that's going on. I honestly can't tell you too much of the difference between Unbelievable and Perfect. Like I said, nothing stands out all that much. They're just fun teen thrillers, basically. Um, but I do like the characters. It's engaging enough for me to keep reading. Um, and I do like the fact that we get side stories. Sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with who's who all the time just because I read them far and few in between because I get stuff off like Hoopla and Libby or Overdrive, so it's basically whenever the books are available. But I think it's Emily that started the relationship with Maya, and they had the whole thing about her parents basically, I guess in a way, threatening to send her to like, I guess you would call it a conversion camp or go live with her aunt and uncle. And ugh, I just hate the idea of parents like that. And then you have like the sibling rivalry between Spencer and her sister. Um, the whole teacher relationship with Aria, that was brought up a couple times again. Um, so yeah, there's like stories, things going on with all that stuff. And yeah, I'll continue to read it. Um, oh, yeah, and the whole Mona thing, but obviously, if you read it, watched it, I'm not giving spoilers. So I feel books like these are hard because, like I said, they kind of repeat some things, or they're fun but not memorable enough to be distinct from each other all the time. But it's nice to just read for fun once in a while. Read something mysterious, spooky, whatever. Not that those things can't have anything deep to them. It's just, um, you know, something to just read for fun. I did finish Cress, and something about it just, I don't know, it didn't pull me in the way that Cinder and Scarlet did. So far, I think Scarlet is, I'm on Winter now, but out of the first three, um, I think I like Scarlet the best. I really like Cinder. I thought, the idea of this twist on a fairy tale was very interesting. They're fairly loosely based on the fairy tales, but I think Marissa Meyer just had a clever way of doing it. So, Cress continues the story from Scarlet. You still have Cinder on the run. You have Scarlet, trying to, you know, take care of everything that she has to because, they came after her grandmother and, you know, she's mixed up into all this stuff now. And then we're introduced to Cress, who is a shell, meaning she can't, like, do the whole glamour thing. And her life was basically spared because um, Lavana wants everybody to, like, kill shells and stuff. I feel like this is a book I'm going to have to read again because there was just so much going on. But like I said, something about it just, I don't know, just didn't quite catch my attention as the other ones did. There's not too much I retained from that book. And I feel like after the series, I might just go back and just reread that book again. Not even just start from Cinder, just maybe reread Cress again, or maybe reread parts of it while I'm reading Winter. Because I don't know, it's just like I said, I remember more from Cinder, and I read it a few years ago, and I remember more from Scarlet. It's just, I don't know. But I think I've heard that Cress is in a lot of people's favorites. So, maybe I'm not alone in that. Um, but yeah, I think it deserves a reread. But eventually I will. I enjoyed the book. And now I'm on to Winter. Um, yeah, I keep saying So I didn't have anything like written down to say, but yeah. So we have all the characters trying to deal with this evil lunar queen. You got Cinderella, aka Cinder, who is a cyborg, and she's basically sent by her mother, her her adopted mother, to be like this test subject because there's like this pandemic going around, like this disease, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens in the center. Then it continues to Scarlet, and then when Scarlet's introduced, she's supposed to be like the Red Riding Hood character, and Scarlet's grandmother, because it's Little Red Riding Hood, she goes missing. and then she meets a street fighter named Wolf. So that's where that fairy tale twist thing comes in. And so we learn that not only is Cinder a cyborg, which, I mean, we learned this in the first book, Cinder, but she's also lunar. So lunars are these people with like this special ability. They like live on the moon. They live on Luna. The moon is basically its own country now. And Scarlet's family knows something about Cinder and the missing um, Princess Celine and all this other stuff. And then in Cress, we meet Cress, or Crescent Moon, who is a lunar, but she doesn't have the lunar power or glamour, and so she's called a shell. And she was supposed to be killed. Her parents basically sent her off to be killed because that was the law. And so you have Prince Kai, who is marrying Levana basically to save humanity, and this poor guy is going through a bunch of shit. And yeah, there's just so much going on. Ooh. I feel like I'm gonna have a coughing fit. But I cannot wait to get to winter, because then this will be the third series that I have completed. Because I've completed The Hunger Games, and I've completed The Giver Quartet. And Sun, which is the last book. So I've read through it before, but I wanted to reread it again to actually get a good feel of the book. When I was first reading it, I would have thought that I liked it as like my second favorite book in the series, because it takes place, the first half takes place as the same time as The Giver, because it tells the story of Claire, who is the birth mother of Gabe. And so if you don't know anything like about The Giver, basically they live in a society where everything is laid out for you. Um, when you turn 12, you're assigned a job, and then you can go and apply for a spouse, and the elders will match you up, and if you want children, they will give you children. Basically, you're allowed one boy, one girl, and one of the jobs that are given to girls is to be a birth mother. Her job is solely to have children for family units. And um, there's a whole thing with that in the book. But the last book kind of goes back to that, and it tells a story about one of the birth mothers and what happens with her, and how she ends up at the village that Kira and Jonas from the first two books end up in. You see these characters again. At first I liked it and everything. It wasn't a bad book, but the thing is that I wish it had ended differently, because hang on guys. So the Giver itself kind of has a sense of magic in it, because the Giver can transfer memories to a person. But the way that Sun ended, I just didn't get it. It just like it didn't um make sense in a lot of ways. Like you would have thought that the two books, because Gathering Blue is a very different world from The Giver, and um, but it's still like a village dystopian kind of thing, and then they end up like in the same village that kind of takes in like I guess you call them like refugees and people that been like hurt by other places and whatnot. There was nothing that really tied it together like you would have thought when they said ties it together because there's really nothing about those societies like how they started. Like we have an idea in The Giver of like how things why they went that way. But then you have these other places like Kira's village and stuff, and you would have thought that maybe she'd give a little bit more history and everything. I'm live. I'm recording live. But yeah, there was none of that. I really thought that we were going to see um, some connection, some history. Um, how did people get certain powers that they have, like transferring? What are you doing? Oh, I didn't know if I was gonna be in your way. I'm live. I'm talking about the books I've been reading. Talking about books and playing with my settings. But yeah, I mean, the first two books were very interesting, and I think the first two are the best. I also read Gossamer, which is also by Lois Lowry, but it is not part of that series. And Gossamer was a short book, and I guess you can say it's like a middle grade book. But it had some dark moments in it. Not like overly dark, like dark for like a middle grade book. Um, Basically, it tells a story of like these beings that basically give people dreams or give people like good dreams and stuff. And it's set around the story of this boy who basically is in foster care, and you can tell the kid's kind of messed up by some of the things he says because he says some kind of violent things for somebody that's I think like 10 or younger. Um, and I do like books that don't sugarcoat everything. Like I think it had that good balance of fantasy and realism in a way because it dealt with like these dream givers and then the idea of broken homes and certain things and how it affects people and how children might react to things and it was good. I think it could have been maybe a little bit longer. I think she could have had some interesting concepts woven in there. Playing with all machines. than normal. I did have somebody on here, and they gave me a thumbs up. But now it says 0. So if anybody's here, say hi. And I will say hi to you. Hello. What time is it? It is at 11:45. So this is being counted as my day 8. If I end the chat, maybe I'll come back on and do day 9 if it goes past 12. But yeah, maybe I can just continue talking about my books and what I've been reading. Maybe in the next video. Maybe I will come back and do it live again in just a minute. Or about 20 minutes or so. Yeah, so far reading has actually been pretty good so far. I got a lot of manga that I'm reading through right now. So be prepared to hear a lot about manga. But I think I'm going to end this here so this can process, and I'll be back probably in a few minutes or so. Or maybe in a little bit. We'll see. But anyways, I guess this has been a reading wrap-up live. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.